celebration, tiger sweeping the nation at the box. Well, let's go! A baseball at the box. Let's go to the box, oh baby. Join me at the box, oh baby. Tigers to the top. Baseball at...
All right. Welcome back to another episode. We are now on episode 8 of Chasing Omaha with Season. I'm your host, Season, and we got a lot to talk about. Regarding LSU baseball. I wasn't able to hit a show last week because of personal things going on in my life. I was very busy last week, but I'm glad to be back with my normal time slot. And as always, thank you to the Boot Sports. As always, hit us like, subscribe, and follow to the Boot Sports YouTube page, Facebook page. Message us, comment. We'll gladly appreciate the feedback, and we gladly appreciate the support. But we got to talk a good bit about some baseball stuff going on. We had a outstanding visiting series win against Tennessee on the road, but then we had some disappointing midweek blunders again. Man, this feels like a Paul Mainieri type season. I don't know if y'all remember, but Paul Mainieri, he would lose those midweek games, and he would perform well with the weekend series with the SEC, but he couldn't handle the midweek. This season's feeling like one of those Paul Mainieri years, unfortunately, which is kind of odd because Jay Johnson don't normally have these midweek slumbers, you know. Recapping on the year, we lost to McNeese, we lost to Northeastern, UL Lafayette. We lost 2 out of 3 to Sacramento State. And now last night we lost to BCookman, HBCU college in the SWAC. They're a decent team though. They were sitting at 10-2 in the conference, probably one of the better SWAC teams there is, but still no reason to be losing to these type of teams. I can understand the UL Lafayette loss. I can't understand the McNeese, the Northeastern, and now the Bethune-Cookman. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not, but BCookman is what I'm going to say. I can't fathom how we lost to these midweek games. And then we also lost 2 out of 3 to Sacramento State. I felt like, that's a series we should have took. Vanderbilt, we were 1 pitch away on that Friday night, and then against Sunday, we blew that Sunday lead late against Oklahoma. I mean, just a couple pitches away against Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, and those would have been 2 series wins. But that's kind of just a little recap of the losses that we had this season. But we were able to go on the road at Knoxville in a small ballpark. They're always going to have home runs and bombs hit at this park because it's so small and the balls fly out the area. And that's exactly what happened. We had some wild games. Friday night was a wild game. And then obviously Easter Sunday was an incredibly wild game. We're going to touch up on those games against Tennessee. LSU was able to get back into the top 25. We got back up to rank 24 in the top 25, which was good to see. Just got to keep scraping away. We got another road series against Ole Miss here this weekend. And that series is going to have storylines within itself just because of the taking away Kiffin from Ole Miss and a lot of animosity between the fan bases. I feel like they're going to try to take it out with the baseball atmosphere. It's going to be a big atmosphere. I mean, LSU is always going to draw a big crowd, but these are just going to be like a steroid shot into the atmosphere because of just all what's going on between the 2 programs. But with that being said, let's recap a little bit on the Tennessee series. And, man, it was a good series. Some exciting baseball. A lot of late inning drama in this series against Tennessee. Let me share with the screen. We're going to do the Friday game first. We're going to go in order. All right. So what I got pulled up right here is the 8th inning. Tennessee had a 4-1 lead on us in the 8th inning, and let's relive this 8th inning.
5-pitch walk as Arvidsson sprays it.
Okay, Braun looks like it draws the leadoff walk. That's another thing I got to touch up on. Zach York is continuing to struggle with SEC play. So the fan base has been calling for it. Jay Johnson finally made a move. It looks like he went with Braun to start at first base. We're going to see who he sticks with this weekend. I think Braun is going to give you much better discipline at the plate. And he showed yesterday against Bethune-Cookman that he can make some defensive plays. You know, he had a good pick on one play, and he had a good stretch on another play. So I think he's able defensively, and I think he's a lot better offensively in SEC play than what York is going to give you. So Braun is going to be an option moving forward at first base, and this is how we start off the 8th inning with a leadoff walk.
Payoff pitch. Stanfield works a walk.
All right, Stanley gets a walk. Got 2 runners on.
3-1. 3 walks in a row.
3 walks in a row. Milam, bases loaded. Let's see what happens next.
From Brandon Arvidsson, and the bases are loaded, representing the tying runs. 3-2 on the way. Brown on a line to short, right at Marin for the first out. Freshman. Got to miss. 2 down.
All right, so Jake Brown lines out to shortstop. Cerner Jr. strikes out. And then the next AB, D. Curriel, number 6.
One of the best bat-to-ball guys in the sport.
1-0. Curriel skies this. Left field.
Oh, wow.
Brown goes back at the wall. Gone! Grand slam, Derek Curriel. And LSU grabs the lead in the 8th.
I flipped the script pretty quick. And for a guy that up until, 4 days ago had 1 home run, now has 3 home runs in the last 3 games. And that's the biggest swing he's had the entire year. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Curriel runs it out for his 4th home run of the year and gives LSU their first lead since the 3rd.
Back-to-back games with a grand slam for Derek Curriel.
And you can lip read. He is walking up and down the dugout saying, "This is my house." This is about as fiery as we've seen Derek Curriel in 2 years.
He's usually pretty reserved, even in big spots, but that one will get your blood going right there.
I don't know about you, KP. It looked like he missed this ball. I mean, the launch on that thing is 39-degree launch angle, which is about as high as you will ever see a homer.
Man, what a freaking swing by Derek Curriel. Back-to-back games with a grand slam. It was awesome to see how fired up Curriel was, showing all that emotion in the dugout and getting the team all fired up. Derek Curriel becomes the hero of game 1 against Tennessee with that swing. And then I think Stanley also hits a solo home run in game 1 in the next inning. And the Tigers take care of business game 1. But that one had some late drama to it. Well, man, what a swing, T. What a swing. Derek Curriel right there with that grand slam. Oppo, too. Derek Curriel's been going Oppo. You know, he takes full control of the field, the park. You know, he could hit left, right, center, and just came through for the Tigers with that grand slam. Oppo right there with that home run. Let's recap. So that was game 1. LSU takes care of business. And then that we obviously got to talk about Sunday. Freaking Jay Johnson gets tossed. And fires up the team in the 9th inning. We're going to go relive that 9th inning. All right, let's see. Okay. So we fast forward a little bit. We got a runner on first. Here's when Jay Johnson gets tossed. We got a controversial strike 3 backwards K on Aaron Beatty. And speaking of Aaron Beatty, Aaron Beatty had 4 bombs in this game, 5 hits total. Monster performance. I think, T, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the only player in LSU history to hit 4 home runs in a game. I think that's what I heard. I'm not too sure how accurate I am on that statement, but I believe so. He only first player to hit 4 home runs in a bomb. I mean, in a game. Sorry, but let's relive the ejection from Jay Johnson.
And that's in there. Delayed strike 3 call. Jay Johnson can't believe it. And he's out of here. Arvidsson feeling it. That's his second strikeout. Jay Johnson has had enough of this one.
Breaking ball and just a great.
All right, look where this ball lands, though. Bro, that's below the strike zone. That's almost at the ankle right there. Jay Johnson had every right to come out and get ejected, and he did so for his team. I mean, that's almost a dirt ball.
Pitch, in my opinion, in there for a strike, not the best received from Clark.
I completely disagree with the announcer. That is not a strike. That's almost a dirt ball. But Tennessee was, the pitcher was smiling, the catcher was smiling, the fans were going crazy. They thought that, they had this game in the bag. Head coach gets thrown out, 2 outs, only a runner on first, still got a 1-run lead. But the cardiac cats is what we like to call them. Let's see what kind of high blood pressure and heart attack these cardiac cats give us.
Dardar, that's a rope into right field. Chapman on the run, he has it. Braun scampering to third. LSU 90 feet away from tying this up.
All right, Dardar keeps the stakes going with a base hit. Braun advances to third base. We got runners on the corners, 2 outs.
And that hits Stanfield. Should be a dead ball.
Stanley gets hit by a pitch, loads up the bases. I think Jake Brown is up next with 2 outs.
So unable to advance is Braun, but the bases loaded. One of the best bats in the country of Jake Brown.
Jake Brown was 0 for 4 at the moment coming into this at-bat right here. So huge pressure moment for Jake Brown. Game on the line, down to the last out.
Time called. LSU gathered. They are now without Jay Johnson. If they are able to tie things up and this game continues, no Jay Johnson the rest of the way. Brown, slow roller, Abernathy, flip to second, it gets away. LSU is... Unbelievable. Slow roller. Good things happen when you put it in play. Exchange goes awry between Abernathy and Marin.
Steve, when he hit that live, I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then I was like, oh, it could be trouble. It's a slow roller. Could be trouble. We got fast, speedy Stanley coming to the bag. And then I seen that. I was like, uh-oh, we ain't losing. We ain't losing now, T. Jay Johnson gets tossed. The team rallies. We got the energy, and we just roll with it. So we tied up the game 5-5.
Shoot an opportunity.
The base is still loaded.
Cement himself as a hero in this series.
Got him swinging. That ends the threat.
State Farm Life Insurance helps protect those you love in each new chapter of your life.
Come back and win.
Garrett Wright. Everyone. Cade,
all right, here we go. Here we go, T. We are now in the top of 12, bases loaded. Aaron Beatty comes up to the plate. 3 for 3 with 3 solo bombs. In this scenario, you can't pitch to Aaron Beatty. Well, you have to pitch to Aaron Beatty in this scenario, actually. The previous ABs, I wondered why they kept on throwing at him, especially after the first two. But, bases loaded, you are down a run. So even if you intentionally walk him, you giving up a run. So you have to come back at Aaron Beatty right here. And Aaron Beatty is the hero in game 3.
Aaron Beatty, who has just been ungettable today. 4 hits in 5 plate appearances. 3 home runs on the day. And he hits another one. This one's deep. It's way back. It's a 4th homer for Aaron Beatty.
At the top of the scoreboard, bro. He blasted that one, man. He was seeing the ball beautifully. And he's continuing to ride that hot hand, but what a freaking swing right there. Top 12.
A grand slam. You will never see another performance like this.
And one for the ages for Aaron Beatty. Just fantastic. That one off the top of the scoreboard. I mean, nobody's having it better right now than Aaron Beatty.
On the first pitch he saw. 3 solo home runs, all leading up to a 4th, a grand slam dagger. It's that type of day for Aaron Beatty. An all-time LSU Tiger performance.
So we end up scoring 10 runs in the top of the 12th. We end up having a 10-run victory in game 3. They had a bunch of stuff we need to talk about as well. Cerner Jr., I think he had a concussion on a, bang bang play at the plate. We also had a moment where we had 3 back-to-back home runs in this game with Pearson, Aaron Beatty, and Dardar. Relentless performance. We had Jay Johnson got ejected. We had the drama with the Jake Brown slow roller hit, and then we had the monster top 12. So this game had a lot in it itself. So just a lot of drama, and we like to call them the cardiac cats, right? But excellent performance from the Tigers this past weekend against Tennessee, which brings us to last night against Bethune-Cookman. Just a letdown performance. Me and T were talking about it. It's just whenever we feel like the team is riding hot and getting something together, they're just going to come back and just let us down like that in a pulmonary type fashion. Midweek loss. They were scrappy last night, battling. I remember it was like 5-5, then it was like 6-6, and then they had the terrible 7th inning where they hit and went up 10-6, and we just couldn't catch up at that point. Pitching has been atrocious, I would say, in the midweek performances. It feels like almost every midweek game we have about 10 pitching changes. We got no one that could go deep. We got no one that's coming in and executing on the mound. We got some people that are coming in, throw 2 pitches, and then we got to take them out because we got no faith in them. We don't really have too many good lefties this year on the roster. Garcia's kind of had some moments here or there. Cooper Williams had some moments here or there, but they still are a little inconsistent from the lefty standpoint. Our pitching, though, in the midweeks, these 3-4 hour games are so long because we have so many pitching changes. We can't have no consistent midweek pitching. It feels like a pulmonary pitching staff, and which is kind of surprising. Jay Johnson was so high on the pitching staff. Yetsky's one of the best pitching coaches in the country. He's in year 3. We thought that we would have had a better grasp on the depth of the pitching this year, and we don't really have that dominant arm as well in the weekend series. We might have it here or there, but it's been inconsistent from a dominant standpoint. I think pitching is a standpoint we need to, fix moving forward. Some good news I would say is that we might be getting Cooper Moore back I don't know if he's coming back this weekend against Ole Miss, but I think he missed the last 2 weekends following that elbow injury. That would be a huge shot in the arm to the pitching staff if we could get Cooper Moore for Ole Miss and slide Smitty back to the Sunday role. So T, man, what you think? Good, you're right. Good, great series win against Tennessee, and just a letdown performance against Bethune-Cookman last night. Uncalled for. Like I said, they have a good record. They have like a lot of Dominican Republic people on their team. They got a lot of talent from overseas and a lot of baseball talent demographics, but I think that's still a team that we can't be losing to no swag. Losing Northeastern and McNeese State and Bethune-Cookman, UL Lafayette, some bad losses right there. And I thought the UL Lafayette, at the time it was a decent loss, but UL Lafayette's not doing as hot as what they were in the beginning of the season. Sacramento State, that was a terrible series loss as well. But keep fighting, keep grinding. Just got to make it into the postseason, and anything can happen. If you look at all of our national championship seasons, every single one of them we hosted at Alec Box, the regionals and supers, I want to say. I could be wrong, but I want to say that every time we won a national championship, it went through Baton Rouge. The way that we're looking at it right now, I don't think we are going to be a top eight national seed as of now. We could get hot and continue and grind our way back up into it. I think as of now, we're on the outside looking in for hosting. Even a top 16 national seed, I think we on the borderline flirting with that if we can continue to ride it out. But I don't think we're going to get a top 8 as of now. So we're going to have to find a way. We go take advantage. If we could get a top 16 seed, go win a regional at home, and then go try to take 2 out of 3 somewhere. Which is, going to be tough to do, but I think it's still manageable if you look at it just from a game-by-game perspective. So that was kind of what happened with the recap. We beat Tennessee 2 out of 3, and then the loss to Bethune-Cookman. Now we got Ole Miss coming this weekend at Ole Miss. Is Blanco still the coach at Ole Miss, T? Mike Blanco? I wonder if he's still the coach there. I think he still is. I'm not too sure if I heard if he stepped down or not. But let me see what Ole Miss is cooking up right as of now. I think Ole Miss jumped into the top 25 as well. I want to say we were 24th and Ole Miss was 25th. So they still a decent baseball team. It's not going to be easy by all means, but I think it's still a series where we could be scrappy and win. Play for your coach, play for your state program, play for the atmosphere between the two programs. A lot of animosity between these two schools. It's taking Kiffin. I'm sure Kiffin's going to create some drama on social media like he kind of always does. So Ole Miss is sitting at 5-7 in the conference, and LSU is sitting at 500, 6-6 right now. Ole Miss is 23-11, and LSU is 22-12. Some other statistics: Ole Miss is 19-4 at home. They own a 2-game win streak. So this is definitely a series where LSU could go and take 2 out of 3, though, I would say. Yeah, you're right, Tiger Mark. Last night was definitely a head scratcher. And like I mentioned it earlier in the show before you hopped on, it feels like a pulmonary pitching staff roster type year where we competitive and we decent on the weekends, but we don't got the pitching in the midweeks and we losing these midweek games. Kind of feels like a pulmonary type year, which is crazy because Jay Johnson takes every game so seriously. And Jay Johnson's now finding himself where he's gonna have to try to pull a sweep somewhere, man. I think I watched the Monday show with you, Tiger Mark, on talking Tigers with the Boot Sports. And, you know, I agree. I think South Carolina is a series where we could sweep. If Lane Kiffin gets involved with any trash talk about upcoming series versus Ole Miss, I hope our Tigers can back it up. Yeah. I remember even this past women's basketball season, I think him and the women's basketball coach, I got like into a little trash talk with each other. And, you know, you already know he's going to do something to try to clown or try to flex on, you know, take advantage of his old school. I really think we can win this series though. Do you know if Mike Blanco is still the coach at Ole Miss? Let's see. Let me look up who Ole Miss has played so far this season and see if we have any comparable schedule-wise. So in conference, Ole Miss lost to Texas 2 out of 3. Texas has the best. No, Texas is the highest ranked SEC team, but Georgia is sitting at the top of the standings. They took 2 out of 3 versus Kentucky, just like how we did. Okay, so we both have a similar opponent in Kentucky. They got swept by Mississippi State, and they took 2 out of 3 against Florida. So 2 out of 3 against Florida, swept by Mississippi State, 2 out of 3 versus Kentucky, and lost 2 out of 3 versus Texas. Yeah, so Blanco's still the coach at Ole Miss, and it's going to be interesting. LSU's sitting at 500 in conference play. That's not terrible. If you look at it from a standings perspective, we only 4 games out from top in the conference. You know, if you could get a sweep, if you could get 2 out of 3 versus Ole Miss, a sweep against South Carolina, take 2 out of 3 at home versus Texas A&M, and then you're going into, I think we got Florida. We still got to play Florida. And I want to say we played Georgia too this year. So if we could just keep cooking up and winning from an SEC perspective, we can't lose any more midweeks though. These midweek games are mind-blowing, like how you said, Mark. All right, let's look at some stats. Give a weekly stat checkup. Present screen, share screen. All right, here we go. Let's see my screen. All right, season statistics. All right, Derek, we got three batters over 300. Darren Beatty now at 312 on the season after that monster weekend and still riding hot last night. Derek Curiel, Jake Brown, Aaron Beatty all over 300. Seth Dardar starting to creep back up. He had a good weekend. Seth Dardar, but every time he swings, he's swinging for the fences, bro. He lets loose at the plate. You could tell in his swings, man. Like those swings are massive, and it's just almost like he's swinging out of his shoes at times. Seth Dardar. He swings that way with 2 strikes too. He don't really have a 2-strike approach, I find. Omar Cerner, he started getting hot like mid-season. He gets the concussion. Hopefully that concussion don't hold him back at all. Now, here's the thing though, with Aaron Beatty getting so hot, do you go with Aaron Beatty behind the plate, or do you DH him? Regardless, he has to be in the lineup. I feel like both catchers are a little inconsistent somewhat this season. It's almost like no matter who we throw back out there, it's like they getting pass balls and struggling to block up pitches at times. Little inconsistencies with both Aaron Beatty and Cerner behind the plate. Now, we went with Edward Yaman. Now, I don't think he's going to go behind the plate Edward Yaman moving forward. But I think, with first base being back available with York hitting the can, I think we can make a case for Yaman at first, along with Braun. I think Braun and Edward Yaman, the fourth, could battle it out for first base. I think York, at this point in the season, I think he needs to ride the bench for now. We haven't seen Simpson in a while. Let's see. I'm glad to see Milam starting to climb back up. 258 still sub below par for his levels, but he's starting to climb a little bit because I want to say he dropped all the way down to 220 at one point this season. We haven't heard or seen Trent Caraway in a while. Caraway's been kind of riding the pine a little bit. He was our third baseman to start the year, and then we kind of shifted towards John Pearson. Pearson has more power. He's a little bit more fastball heavy hunter hitter. He could go oppo at times. He's more of a pull heavy type of hitter though. He's sitting at 270. I'm okay with continuing with Pearson at third. At first base, I want to see Yaman and Braun, and then catcher. I'm still okay with Aaron Beatty and Cerner, but Aaron Beatty, if he's not catching, he obviously has to be DH at this point. He's just swinging the bat way too hot to leave on the bench. Other than that, I mentioned Simpson, but I think that'll be the only other cat I think I would be pleased to see touch the lineup. Tanner Reeves is struggling. Tanner Reeves hitting 200. I thought Reeves would have had a better year. Daniel Harden seems like he has talent, and he seems like, he has talent and he has potential, but he's only batting 154 on 13 at bats. Stanny's batting 273. All right, let's see what else. Let's see some pitching. Smitty with a 2.63 ERA. Zach Cowan. We forgot to mention about Zach Cowan. Zach Cowan had 2 back-to-back great performances, starting to look like his old self, I find. Zach Cowan, relief pitcher, his changeup is starting to hit back like how we seen it last year. I think Zach Cowan's going to play a huge role this weekend again for us. Man, dude, the pitching. This feels like a pulmonary type pitching staff. Be nice to get. Do we have any news on Cooper Moore? My lobby, my people watching. Believe it or not, Bianca has been at Ole Miss for an unbelievable 26 years, bro. Golly, 26 years. That's insane, man. 26 years. He has 1 championship. I'm pretty sure just 1 championship. I know Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they won national championships back-to-back years. Decent coach. He has a national championship on his reservoir. Always plays LSU kind of tough. I remember last year in the SEC tournament, they shut us out in the tourney. Ole Miss has a respectable baseball program, just like the football program, respectable. So I'm looking to go take 2 out of 3 though. A sweep would be wonderful here, bro. A sweep and we sitting at 9-6 in the standings. If we go sweep Ole Miss this weekend, bro, we 9-6 in the standings. We're gonna be like 2 games out from first place. Because I don't know who Georgia plays this week, but Georgia got 10 wins. And let's assume that they don't sweep. Let's assume they only win 2. So we'd only be 2-3 games out, and we still have to play Georgia at the end of the season. I know it's at Georgia, I think, in Athens, but we might have a situation cooking up where we keep on climbing. We right here behind Georgia, and then we come into that last series versus Georgia where it's like, okay, if we take 2 out of 3, we might have a tiebreaker scenario or something. You never know. Just got to keep pecking away. You're right, T. Just keep pecking away. No offense against York and not trying to come to his defense, but he came from Grand Canyon to LSU. The SEC pitching is a different beast. You're completely right about that. He's not facing no 82, 85 hunting fastballs. He's a pull heavy hitter. He has no outside pitch awareness. His stance, I don't even think he can even hit the outside plate. His stance concerns me when outside pitching. I noticed big time with York. He has decent eye discipline with strike ball pitches, but he's just such a pull heavy hitter where he can only almost hit the inside plate, only almost. He don't go oppo. You're gonna, so I'm completely agreeing with the decision to ride him on the bench. I don't think that he's not ready for no SEC. He hasn't showed at all really this year. All his really good performances came against non-SEC and midweek level of teams and opponents. But keep pecking away. You're right, T. Gavin Guidry has been a little up and down. Garcia shown some bright spots here or there, a little inconsistent as well. I think Devin Sharon, the heavy fastball, I think he reaches like 98 on the gun. Sharon's kind of been a little bright for us this season, I would say. He has 11 appearances. He's 3-0. Win-loss. Only have a 3.63 ERA, and he has 2 saves. I'm looking at Zach Cowan. I'm looking at Devin Sharon, and I'm looking at Guidry to be our middle relief. I'm praying Cooper Moore comes back, and then we could get with our regular rotation with Case and Evans, Cooper Moore, and William Smith, and use those 3 relievers, like I said. And then I guess if you need people just to give you something, you always got people like the Fontenot and the trying to think of some of these pitchers are struggling. We haven't seen much of Danny Lackenmeyer. He's a lefty. Maverick Rizzi, he's been he struggles with accuracy, I find, but he has 15 appearances. Maverick Rizzi actually got the most appearances on the team right now, but he has a decent ERA with 3.63. So I think those are the pitchers that I want to see moving forward for sure. I'm telling you now, Wes Johnson made those comments about our Tigers after we beat them in the tournament a few years ago. I believe Johnson would try to embarrass. Believe Johnson would try to embarrass us. I hope we have a good showing. Man, like Mark, I pointed out that situation, bro. We keep climbing. We get a sweep versus South Carolina, potentially a sweep versus A&M or Ole Miss. I'm not counting it out. I'm projecting us to go 2 out of 3 versus those 2 teams, but a sweep right there would be a huge swing. And then we set us up for that last series against Georgia. It's going to be headlines: Wes Johnson versus Jay Johnson. Yatsky, still who's going to be the better pitching coach? They're going to try to embarrass us. We're going to have to. It's going to be a scenario where if the Tigers take 2 out of 3 versus Georgia, we might have a tiebreaker on our hands for the season. So the season, this is where it gets fun, y'all. This is where it gets fun. We can't have any more midweek losses, though. We can't have any more midweek losses. This is pulmonary type. This is like second half pulmonary, reminiscent with these midweek losses. And then I always hear the chatter. I remember with pulmonary that midweek losses don't count, but from the Jay Johnson philosophy, midweek losses do count. He treats every game in a game itself. We're trying to get to at this point a top 16 national seed. We're gonna need a few sweeps, I think, if we could get back to the top 8 seed. Cooper Moore is scheduled to return against A&M. He won't play this weekend. Damn. I wish he was coming back this weekend, T. I'm still confident we could take 2 out of 3. And hey, you never even know, bro. You never even know. The bats get hot. Pitching stays weekend consistent. What we've been seeing from the weekend might take 3. Texas A&M is 7-5 in conference right now. So they only a game ahead of us. We still got to play Florida. Florida's only 7-5. They only a game ahead of us. South Carolina's last in the conference. They 2-10. And then obviously Georgia. Georgia's 10-2 right now in the season. Georgia put up like 28 runs yesterday against somebody. I don't know who they played, but they put up like 28 freaking runs. I was concerned about our pitching earlier I can't lie, because we gave up a lot of runs in that come from behind victory versus over Indiana, and it's still concerning. And someone steps up. Who's gonna step up though, Mark? I think Cowan, Sharon, and Guidry, those three are the only ones I could really trust at the moment. Maverick Rizzi, I don't trust him in high pressure scenarios. I think I'm okay with Rizzi opening up a fresh inning. I don't want him to come in with runners on second and third with one out. I'll be a little nervous with Rizzi. He kind of has some accuracy concerns. There's not too much like really quality depth on the pitching staff, other than Cowan, Guidry, and Sharon, I would say. T. them A&M, bro. Them Texas A&M faggies are up and down this season also. And Georgia's sitting at 10-2. How dominant and how scary does Georgia show you from what you've seen this year? I mean, is it as wide open as it is, or is Georgia just that good this year? Texas is pretty good this year. Texas was good last year too, and I can't even. They didn't even make it to Omaha, Texas. I can't even remember if they won that regional or not, Texas. But it looks like as of now with the standings, though, Georgia and Texas is sitting at the top. Kind of like got a few little mid teams and a lot of 500 teams. Auburn is 6-6. Kentucky 6-6. Vanderbilt 6-6. I forgot we play Mississippi State too. I didn't mention that. Mississippi State has a pretty talented roster this year, but they kind of been slipping up a little bit here lately. They got swept by Georgia this past weekend, Mississippi State. They 7-5 right now in conference. So I forgot about Mississippi State. We still got a lot of baseball left on the season. It feels like it's going by quick, which it probably is. But we still got a good bit of baseball left. I think we still got 5 more series, if I'm not mistaken. We got Florida at home, and we got Texas A&M at home. Is that the only 2 other home series? Let's see. Texas A&M at home, South Carolina at home, and then Florida at home. Okay. So we got 3 more home series. We at Georgia, we at Mississippi State, and then we at Ole Miss. All right. Jay has to look someone in the eye and tell them to hold the damn rope. Man, you're right. You're right, bro. We didn't get that last night. No one was holding the rope, it felt like, from a pitching staff. Everybody got to hold that damn rope, Mark. Tiger Mark. Hold the rope. Hold the rope. And I'm telling you now, a lot of the drop-off in the pitching is due to the NIL players that would have came to LSU. It's following the money, and it's about a paycheck. Whatever it is, bro, we got to get 2 dominant arms for next season. Like Cade Anderson and a Ironson, or a Skeens and Ty Floyd. Like, we need that 1-2 heavy punch. A 1-2 heavy punch on the weekend, and then we need some more lefties, I find. I don't want to look too forward to next year, but I want more filthy lefties are supposed to be filthy. Like a lefty pitcher got to have a lot of jump and filthy and tough and command We need some lefties on the mound for next year. Jay spoke about it needing more funding for the baseball program. It's almost like it feels like the 2024 season in itself. I don't know. I think offensively, I think we better than the 2024 team. I think 2024 may have a even to slight edge maybe on pitching than what we have this year, but it's feeling like the 2024 year. It's feeling like we're going to be a 2 seed probably at the moment. Go win somewhere in a regional and then have to play again in a super. But I mean, we cracked the top 25 though. We were 24th on the top 25. I think Ole Miss was 25, so that'll be a quality opponent right there. Just if we beat Ole Miss 2 out of 3 this weekend, what's our jump in the rankings? About 18, 17, or you don't think we climb that high? Because we did lose last night to BCookman, so that might put a little stab in us. Might hinder us climbing as high as what we want to for next week. But yeah, man, I think we're gonna start closing out the show. Any last thoughts, comments y'all want to talk about? Fire away. Yeah, you're right, man. Last night's loss hurts badly. And T, you said last night hurts the most because of the momentum we had gathered, right? I don't know which loss hurts the most between McNeese, Northeastern, or last night, or even the Sacramento State one. I felt like that one stung me. Sacramento State series loss. The Vanderbilt Friday night one, or the Vanderbilt Friday game one, when Gavin Guidry gave up the walk-off homer, and that one stung, bro. We were 1 pitch away, man. 1 pitch away. 1 pitch away from winning the Vanderbilt series. T, if we don't hold the rope, if we don't have a rope to hold it, it's too late to mend one together before the season's over. Tiger Mark, bro, you fired up for football or what, bro? Y'all fired up for football or what, man? How's spring football been? Well, some reports show. I heard Sam Levitt had surgery to remove a screw, and that might be. I think it's encouraging to hear. You don't like how he won't participate. You won't like how he won't participate, but it's encouraging that he's on track to become healthy. What you're hearing about Hudson Longstreet and the other quarterback? I know we brought in 3 quarterbacks this year. Lane Kiffin's offense, quarterback play is so crucial in Lane Kiffin's offense. You need that dual threat ability in his offense with the high tempo. A lot of people don't mention that the run game too. Lane Kiffin's run game is really what makes that offense go. Everyone thinks it's all about the quarterback, which for the most part it is. Let's see. Been keeping up as much as I can. They say the kid from Elon is taking charge. Okay. It's been one of those years a little bit, man. The cardiac cats is what we call them, and this feels like the 2024 year, and it also feels like a late Paul Maneri type year with the baseball team. I like the talent. Derek Curiel, Jake Brown, Milam, Aaron Beatty, Dardar starting to come around offensively. Omar Cerna was starting to come around before the concussion. We still got some pieces. We're going to see what we do with first base with Braun or Yaman. Third base, probably still ride out with Pearson. The wide receivers will be super nice. That's what I want, man. When you think of LSU, bro, every national championship year of LSU, bro, you think of all those really great receivers, man. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Marshall, Brandon LaFell, freaking Michael Clayton. Man, we just had some really good receivers. I want to get back to throwing the ball, and obviously we haven't had no run game or offensive line push as well. But I just want to get back to just being dominant, bro. Physical, dominant, playmakers. A lot of talent, flashy swagger. I guess swagger is the word we need. We got to get back to having that swagger, bro. Kevin Smith is coaching the RBs with loads of passion. I've seen some clips, T. You're right about that. I've seen some clips. He's working on, mechanics, technique, hitting the hole, being physical, pad level, speed, cuts, flexibility. He seems like a really good, that whole staff is good that Kiffin brought in. That whole offensive staff. I think his brother's actually maybe a linebackers coach, if I'm not mistaken. I'm so excited for that staff and number one transfer portal class. What are you hearing about the big left tackle we brought in, bro? The big left tackle we spent all the money on from Colorado. I heard that he was going to be a guaranteed first-round pick. So, also what you're hearing about from that edge. Cardiac cats, bro. High blood pressure, heart attacks. Yeah, bro, that big left tackle, man. I'm curious to see that big left tackle. The edge rushers, the one with that weird name that came from Ole Miss. I heard high things about him. I think he's going to be a good player for us. We lost a defensive lineman for torn ACL, Gabe Relaford, I want to say. That was some news we had in spring. I hate to see that happen to Gabe, but we need to have a football show. Talk some football, Tiger Mart. Let's have a football show soon. I'm starting to itch for some football. Yeah, that seems like the new norm, Tiger Mart. The getting away with no spring game. Kiffin I watched one of his conferences. He says that he don't like putting out that film where teams can see, players, evals, and a little bit of scheme, and you don't want the X's and O's kind of getting out. And but let's have a football show soon. I'll see y'all next week for another baseball chasing Omaha with season. That's what we're doing, bro. We chasing Omaha at this point. we just gotta keep scraping by, winning series. Can't afford no more midweek losses, man. Because I remember I mentioned at the beginning of the show, every one of our national championship years, we were a top 8 national seed. I want to say every time we won a national championship in baseball, we won super regionals in Baton Rouge at Alec Box. I could be mistaken, but I don't know if we ever won on the road in a supers and won a championship in Omaha in the same year. So that's something that we got to keep in mind. Tradition. I appreciate you joining the show, Tiger Mart. Go damn Tigers. And Shay Dixon would be great to have on, man. We could get some recruiting talk. We could get some spring eval talk. We could get some NIL talk. That would be a great guest to have on for the show. But on that note, let's wrap it up. Let's go beat Ole Miss this week. Let's go take 2 out of 3 or even a sweep. The stakes are going to be high with Kiffin. Look, lots of drama, anticipation, and animosity between the two schools, Blanco and Johnson, and the rich history and talent that's going to be there. Let's go. I'm feeling confident, man. Let's go take 2 out of 3, and obviously we'll take a sweep. But let's go start it off right and win Friday. And yeah, bro. Will Wade, man, we got a lot of exciting things. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. I'll catch y'all next week episode. Let's go beat Ole Miss. All righty. I'm going to close it out.